Oh, and there's a guy walking over there, so he's doing something. Oh, it's a pickup truck, so he's probably owns the land.
Hey guys, so this is a Dan and Jonas vlog. Jonas, put your top hat on so they can see, in the pipe, so they can see how you dress for House on the Rock. Jonas dressed in character for House. This is in character for Jonas as well as in character for House on the Rock.
I would normally be shaved, but I've been wearing a mask, so I don't care.
I think he looks better with the beard. I would encourage him to keep his head shaved because there are places with less hair, as happens to most of us as we get older. But I would encourage him to keep the beard. I don't think he's going to do it.
Show him how much hair. This is too much hair for me. Normally I have nothing at all.
So that's not what the video is supposed to be about, but it's interesting trivia or completely uninteresting trivia.
Depending on your mindset, yep.
So Jonas and I have had a very interesting few days so far, and I wanted to vlog and talk about. Most of you have already seen my videos at the showroom in kind of central Wisconsin.
Oh boy.
And I wanted Jonas to kind of tell some stories about what our experience was there together, as well as we just left House on the Rock, which has been, how long have you wanted to visit there, Jonas?
At least 10, 15 years I've known about it. Yeah.
And I
seen photos.
Have always promised to take him if he ever came to Wisconsin, and I wasn't sure if it would ever happen because lots of friends that you know afar always claim they're going to visit, and very few of them actually do unless they're driving distance. And Jonas made good on his promise to actually, as you guys probably know, help me with some work, but also to visit the showroom, which was kind of coincidental. That wasn't part of the original plan. House on the Rock and Greater Mount Sinai.
Turn right on
so it's been a great trip. I'll let Jonas tell you about yesterday, and then we will also talk about the House on the Rock today.
So for everyone who doesn't know, this lighting showroom opened in 1941, closed in 2002, reopened recently for liquidation.
See, there's a Frank Lloyd Wright Visitor Center there.
Oh yes.
3/4 miles.
Beautiful
Turn
signs.
right on US 14.
And yeah, it's just endless lighting. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Look at those square lights pointing down.
Yes, so cool. Love Wright stuff.
If someone didn't, I would really question them.
Yes.
Except for Alex Jordan.
Yeah, tons and tons and tons of light fixtures, chandeliers, wall lights, door chimes, heaters, fans, glass shades, everything lighting you can imagine.
A center lane closure was reported on
Ignore
US
it. I'm
12.
just
three
talk over her.
warehouse spaces, one on 2 levels. No, four warehouse spaces, 4 2-level spaces, jammed full of stuff. If you want to know what's in there, some of the people can kind of help you figure out where to find certain things, but a lot of it is, this is the area for it, you gotta dig. Dusty, dusty, dusty. If you go to the lighting showroom with Dan, and you should, if you like vintage lighting, all the fans are gone, but vintage lighting.
Well, there's a couple fans left. Nothing really of note.
Nothing, yeah.
There's a Newtone Elegance, a couple newer Newtones still in the box, and then one generic hugger. I don't even know who made it. It looks like a Walmart thing, but obviously it wasn't from Walmart. It would have been something they sold.
Right. If you like Newtones, 80s Newtones, the Elegance is the brass with copper. It's Oak Blades is pretty.
Actually, you know what? I think that little hugger might have been a very late Newtone thing. They sold something like that.
I bet you're right. So they sold Newtone. Most of their ceiling fans, however, were Homestead. And yeah.
Jonas is very excited about the Homestead catalogs. I will scan them all and make a slideshow, as well as post the still images on Dan Spiffy Newman Ceiling Fans on Facebook. So there's a lot of Homestead catalogs that have not been seen yet by collectors, unless there's some collectors that have them and have never posted them online. But they're not catalogs that are available in my slideshows or on iHeart Fans or any of the Facebook groups up till now.
95% of what's in these two binders, there's 3 binders, but one's Casablanca stuff. They only had Casablanca after Casablanca bought Homestead. What's in these 2 binders, 90% of it, 95% of it, I doubt many collectors have ever seen before. If you love Homestead, you'll love this. I had a blast. I spent over $100 there. I blew all but $5 of my budget.
That's hilarious because that's an incredibly tiny budget. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Jonas got a ton of stuff. I told Susan ahead of time what his budget was so that she could give him as much as she possibly could within the budget. But just to put it this way, my first couple times I spent thousands, not hundreds. This time around, I spent hundreds. Now, granted, I'm selling the stuff to other collectors and making a lot of the money back, but I'm just saying, don't go there with $100. Go there with hundreds of bucks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely incredible. The people were all really sweet. They were willing to make deals on things. So if you got a lower price, ask. The worst they can do is say no. I got everything in there that I could possibly find that I really wanted. Got some beautiful door chimes, doorbell
Turn
buttons.
right at the stop sign.
I'm a door chime collector. Tons of Newtone stuff. No catalogs I didn't have. Unfortunately, we didn't find a Calcutta catalog because they sold Calcutta fans, and they also sold. They had a Terra fan, as you'll see, probably already seen, that's polished brass and polished chrome, rebranded Calcutta. And you know, Dan loves Terras. I'm not into them as much as Dan, but I think they're super duper duper cool fans. Beautiful. And I've been to Tyler where they're made. As far as I know, nobody's found one in Tyler. So I had a blast at the lighting store. There's even some little furnished apartments upstairs.
Talk about some of the things that are still in the lighting store that are particularly cool to collectors that they could go and buy.
Tons of door chimes if you like those. Tons of 1960s, 70s, and 80s light fixtures. Not much older than 60s, but maybe a few scattered 50s things. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and you know, up to 2002 when they shut. Tons of lighting, tons of light bulbs, tons of glass shades. If you like vintage 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s glass, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, 4-inch shades, I got tons of those. Lots of hanging lamps with the slag glass bent tulip-shaped shades. Those are normally, I don't know, $50 to $80 each, hang on a chain. Tons and tons of boxes that you can sort through. Tons of track lighting and track heads.
All vintage, lots
All
of chrome,
vintage.
lots of polished brass.
Tons of polished brass heads. You got all the chrome track, I assume.
The track pieces.
Yeah.
I believe I bought all the chrome track to send to the Tubular Tokes guy. We found some more chrome track heads this time around to buy and send to him, and I will be getting all those for him, but I have to go back and get them. I got all the fake wood ones, which is another thing he wanted. Personally, I want the polished brass ones and antique brass ones because that's what I have in my house, and one day I hope to have a bigger house and install more of them. Continue.
There are some polished brass, the angle cylinder polished brass track heads. There are some spherical antique brass track heads left. Lots of almond and white, some black, a couple of square dark brown ones left. There's some display track with a square of display track with all kinds of different heads. You could probably get a bunch of those for cheap. A lot of stuff you got to take down or they will take down for you. Warehouses to sort through. Do not trust what is written on the boxes as far as finishes and sometimes as far as items. Open the boxes and look for yourself. Yeah, you will have a blast. Expect to spend at least 3 hours there.
So, couple questions.
Yep.
What are the coolest or most collectible pieces from each era? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. What are your favorites, which is different than most valuable or most collectible? And then I'll get to my next set of questions. Do those first.
Most collectible, 60s, there are some of those lights that imitate antique oil lamps that have a domed glass shade hanging on chains and then a glass oil fount below. The red ones all got taken, right? The ruby red.
There might be some still in boxes.
Might be some still in boxes, yep.
Those would fit in at House on the Rock.
Yeah, oh yeah. Lots of the tulip shade ones on chains, tons of those. Red ones, slag glass, white, and
That's
amber.
60s? I didn't know those
60s,
were that old.
And some green and blue, pale green and pale blue, super light pastel slag. Insult there, slag. Sorry. There's lots and lots of faux Mediterranean 60s and 70s with the scrolled fake wrought iron. Tons of 80s hexagonal, Dan hates them, leaded glass hexagonal shades.
You skipped over 70s, didn't you? Or did I miss it?
70s is a lot of the scrolly Mediterranean things.
Gotcha.
Lots of that 60s and 70s, quote unquote, early American that's kind of trying to look either colonial or cowboy Wild West saloon.
But what would be like the one coolest piece from each area that if like a lighting collector was about to go up there, what would be the thing you gotta buy if you have the money?
I don't know. There's an avocado green metal reel lamp. You know, you pull it down a stage, you push it up, it stays on a cable with the egg in the middle.
Those are valuable.
Yeah, the tulip shades are cool. Lots of cool wall sconces and porch lights. If you want electrical, like circuit breaker stuff, go down in the basement. Not much else there. Carry a flashlight in the basement or a phone light. Bring a big flashlight. Yeah. And last but certainly not least, for the moment, remember, they don't have any running water there, no bathrooms. Go to the bathroom, bring a bottle of water with you, or what are you
Bring some hand sanitizer, keep your hands clean.
Yes.
So next question then, you kind of answered that, you kind of didn't, but that's okay. I lost my train of thought. I should have just asked them all at once.
Most valuable or favorite?
Okay, yeah, do that too. That wasn't where I was going, but do that too.
Absolute favorite fixture that I didn't buy. There were two. There was this hanging one and a close mount one that I really want. 6-sided, taller than it is wide, about 1.5 feet tall and about 10 inches wide. Hexagonal glass shades, oak around, 3 polished brass candles, same height inside, oak ceiling plate. Want, love. And then the hanging on chains tulips, especially the ruby ones.
So I think you kind of answered one of my questions as well, which was what was your favorite thing you didn't buy?
Yep.
And then my next question would be, what's your favorite thing that you bought, and what's your favorite thing that I bought?
Favorite thing that you bought, the Calcutta fan.
The one from this trip?
The one from this
Tell
trip.
them that story in a second, but answer the other question first.
So, favorite thing that I bought some doorbell buttons that I don't have yet. I bought a new tone. If anybody knows 80s new tone chimes, I bought a Starburst, which is 3 stacked panels of glass, back one a mirror, front one with an 8-point star etched. If anyone wants a cool mid-century doorbell button, ask. They have the brass and silver 8-point stars, the Starbright, Starlight. Grab them, about $10 each. They're worth it. Grab them, put them on your house. You'll love them.
I wish I would have got a star-shaped one. I might have liked that.
Oh yeah, you should ask when you go back.
Would you have to cut into my siding to put that in though?
Yeah, I'd have to drill a small hole.
Yeah, then we won't worry about that for now. But okay.
But you could grab one for a future house.
I should.
I would say grab a brass one and a silver one, so front door and back door.
I should. Okay.
Yeah, I'll remind you. Favorite thing that Dan got, so there was a room behind one area that said, "Do not go in," says so-and-so, one of the people there. What was the lady's name?
Susan.
Susan says, "Do not enter." And at one point somebody she went in there to put some track heads. That was the place where she just said, "Oh, this is where I put out of the way stuff. This is my officey area." At one point I got to go back there with Pops, who was looking to see if there were more any Homestead ceiling fan catalogs, because Susan looked and they didn't seem to have any. I looked through their binders, all labeled and all alphabetical. Didn't find any. No ceiling fans except mid to late 90s new tone, and very little of that. So Elegance, Miranda 2 era. Went into this office, walk in, and there is, if you've seen the video of Dan's of the tiny Calcutta, to me, I don't know them well enough, looked like the same thing with cane blades.
Only difference was it had the long arms from a 52-inch fan instead of the short arms from a 48-inch or 36-inch fan. Don't know why they mixed and matched parts like that, but they were known for doing that. Also, the blades appear to be Casablanca cane, because all the Calcutta cane I've seen is tight weave. And I don't know where they came from. Maybe Calcutta used those briefly. Maybe they were, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's a parts fan. But either way, well, it is a parts fan because they got wrong blade arms, or who knows, they may have come like that at some point. I don't know. Casablanca had 2 sides to blade holders, and then they had 3. And I went in there.
I will just briefly say, I have seen the catalog that fan comes in, and at least in the catalog, it's not shown. The small motor with the long arms is not an option, But Casablanca things often turned up factory mismatches that were not in the catalog. So still could have been from the factory.
So I walked in. I didn't know I made any big noise. Dan heard it, but I got outside and I shouted, "Hey, Dan." He said, "Just a minute." So I expected to tell Dan, and it didn't quite work out this way. I was going to say, "Hey, Dan, I found something in here. I don't know if you'll like it, but you might like it." And walk in the door and see his expression. But he came in, he knew something was up. Big, because I saw him and went, "Woo!" Yeah. Impressive, super, super cool. Yeah, that was my favorite thing that Dan got. Favorite thing that I got were some incredible cool light bulbs.
Quick question was, when you say favorite thing that I got, I don't mean just this trip. All trips combined. What's your favorite thing that I got? I also include the doorbells that you helped me buy.
Yeah, some of the other doorbells. The doorbell that I got, which is brass with a blue cloth center with little brass stitching and beads, super cool. Buttons, I should say, brass buttons. Favorite thing that you got, the Calcutta and the Calcutta and the Terra Calcutta.
All three Calcuttas.
All threes were just
those are all high on my list as well. And I'm actually really excited about putting in the doorbells. I'm hoping I'm hoping we can put them in while you're still here, but we don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. That would be cool. Favorite thing that I got, I won't go into a lot of detail, but other favorites were some really cool, unusual vintage, like old light bulbs, and some of them I think went back as far as the 40s.
Do you have a YouTube channel, Jonas?
I do not.
Okay, well, do me a favor, take some footage of the stuff you got, and I'll post it on my channel.
Okay.
And also feel free. That was kind of risky of them.
Oh man.
Also, I've been waiting for years. Now you finally have a phone more than good enough to do it. I've been waiting for years on footage of the Jonas Museum that I can post on my channel.
Okay.
With demonstrations on all the lights, fans, and doorbells, anything that's hooked up.
Okay. Well, I think I'll get my roomie to help me film that.
I anticipate hours of footage. Like to literally go through everything, all the fans on all the speed spin downs, all the doorbell demonstrations, all the light demonstrations. I expect that it will be like a 12 Wings video or some other museum video.
At some point I will have my roommate help me. I will do a video of just the fans. I will do a full tour, and then I will do a video of just the fans separately.
I've been looking forward to that for years. Anyhow, anything else? Any other stories you want to tell from yesterday from the showroom, or from stuff we got from the showroom, or anything like that?
No. Yeah. Just if you have a chance to go, if you could come out here before they close, because they're trying to liquidate now, and they may actually haul in an auction company and liquidate. Get your tail out here. Get your tail in there and have a blast. Bring money, and yeah, you will have an amazing time.
I agree. If you're a fan and light collector, it is...
even if you don't buy, you'll have fun looking and taking photos.
Yeah, although at this point, I wouldn't waste their time if you're not at least intending to buy something, because I know they're pretty stressed about... they're trying to get everything out of there by December 15th. I don't know if that's even possible.
I would doubt it.
Yeah.
You need a shovel.
Yeah, no kidding. Or a match. Interesting. Wick Buildings, it says there. Wick Building Supply was a lumberyard when I was a kid that sold moss. It's where I first saw Moss WF series in ads. I didn't know they still had any remnants of the company. I've never come this route before. I took a different route back to Madison from House on the Rock. Speaking of which, if Jonas is done telling you about yesterday, then Jonas has got to tell you about today. And if you've never been to House on the Rock before, or even if you have, you can hear a Jonas perspective, but especially for people who've never been there before.
One word, incredible. One word, overwhelming. That is the word for it, overwhelming.
I would agree.
If Liberace built a giant house, yeah, it is garish, it is overdone, it is full of... The first half of it, which is the gatehouse and the main house, is like Frank Lloyd Wright. If Frank Lloyd Wright dropped shrooms, 10 doses of shrooms, and built a house. And then you go through walkthroughs of like an old-fashioned indoor, but an old-fashioned street with storefronts full of stuff, the bookstore and the lamp store and the clock store and the etc. You can look in the windows and look at stuff. I don't even remember all of it. One room has a giant carousel that has over 20,000 lights on it.
Open? No, it doesn't look open.
Doesn't look open.
Okay,
antique shop. Looks like I'd find them mostly farm antiques.
Yeah.
Anyway, In one section, there is a giant carousel that you unfortunately cannot ride on. It probably wasn't built to be ridden on. Has over 20,000 lights. Has something like...
Show them what you got.
Oh, I'll tell in a minute.
You don't have it. You don't have it. Okay.
200 animals, no horses, not a single horse. They're all something else, and that's on the sign. Read the signs. Lots of musical instruments that are mechanical musical instruments that take tokens. You'll get 8 tokens free. Buy more, you'll need them. First trip through, you probably want about 35, 40 tokens. Trust me. Play everything, have fun. Some things have a little red push button. Push that and hold it down to see the thing do something. Antique musical instrument machines, a lot of them were skillfully built with lots and lots of money to look like they're playing like violins with bows for every note. Crazy, crazy, crazy. A lot of it is not playing. A few things are, percussions usually are. The carousel room, one of the percussions in there are giant tuned glass bottles, carboys. And then the organ room, which is this giant multi-level twisting, turning maze of the most bizarre pipe organ consoles you've ever seen, thousands of weird church and theater organ pipes, 2 chambers full of pipes that may have played at one time as a big theater organ, and tons of dynamos, steam engines, and beer and liquor brewing equipment. Incredible, incredible, incredible. If you go in the summer, it's stupidly hot in there, I'm told.
Bring water.
Yeah, bring water.
Wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah. There are restrooms along. Stop in the restrooms. If there's nobody in the ladies' room, go in there and look around because they're cool too.
Why would you assume that people are guys? Maybe it's ladies. They should stop and look in the men's rooms.
Yeah.
Don't assume their gender.
Yeah. Women should look in the men's room. Men should look in the women's room because they're cool. They're all cool.
Every room is a museum, including the rooms that aren't meant to be.
Yeah. The airplane room is boring. Everything else it's just not up to snuff.
I might have biased him on this, but the airplane room is the only thing that was added after my childhood, and it's underwhelming to me.
You wouldn't have had to bias me on it. I can tell it's not Alex Jordan standards. It's just not.
Yeah. So, real quick, show them what you got from the carousel.
Oh yeah, we were up at the top of we were on the carousel, and we were Dan was looking at burned out light bulbs, and he said, "Oh, there's a burned out sign bulb. You should unscrew it and just take it home, souvenir." So I walk along past the upper level of the small carousel and take this out, and then we were almost to go out the door, and I said, "Hey, are there any of the big red G40 globe bulbs out?" And Dan said, "Oh, there's one up there. It's not in a moving section. You could probably reach it." So let me put this right next to my head so you can see how big it really is. Yep.
He has a big head too, for comparison's sake.
Yes, I do.
So, other than the organ room, which I feel like you're more interested in that than the average person will be. Other than the organ room, which I know to you exceeded your expectations.
By far.
What other exhibits exceeded your expectations?
The gatehouse and main house, the Frank Lloyd Wright on shrooms, was unbelievable. I would live there if I could. I love it.
As would I. Again, my music room at home is a much more muted version of it, but I got the little water features in the laundry room, and the color change bulbs are kind of my ode to the shrooms, and then all the little leaded glass lights in the music room, like way more than you actually need, all with dim bulbs. It's all meant to be similar.
If you like scavenger hunting and you like weird electrical things, in the main house near a fireplace, hunt for the electrical stove burner set in the stonework to put your tea kettle on.
I've been here probably a dozen times now, and I've never noticed it before.
Most people probably don't. And also in the gun room, when you're walking through after the music room, there's a room full of antique firearms in glass cases. Make sure you notice that one of them is a wooden leg, an artificial leg with a Derringer pistol built into it.
So anything else that exceeded expectations besides the main house and the organ room?
95% of the place exceeded expectations. Okay. Everything else, the last 5% just met them.
Okay. Let me rephrase the question then. Besides the organ room, again, nothing from the organ room gets to qualify. Your favorite either rooms or exhibits, name 3 to 5.
The carousel, the whale was really just wow, neat.
Battling the giant squid.
Battling the giant squid, and make sure you notice that also the whale is in the process swallowing a ship. And the carousel, I already said that, didn't I?
I think so, and you said the main
Carousel.
house the first time around.
Main house.
So that's 3.
And,
you can pick 2 more if you like.
Past the carousel room, there's an area where there's lots of little displays with red buttons that you can push to watch the animations go. You have to hold them down. These are all displays that would have gone in the window of jewelry stores to advertise diamonds and diamond rings. Look at all of them. They are, if you like little fiddly mechanical ingenuity, they are all crazy cool.
Yes, something I was going to say and then I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, just all incredible. And if you like fans, look up everywhere, and who knows, you might spot a black industrial or something. And the weirdest Fanimation belt fans you've ever seen, 2 of them with 5 gigantic wooden blades.
They kind of look like they have cane.
Kind of.
They kind of got like a darker edge and a lighter center meant to look like cane blades, was my always thought. It's harder to tell now that they haven't been cleaned in 40 years. But when I was younger, it was more obvious.
And it's odd that there's 2 sections of the room, and only one section has these. And also, when you come down, when you see the room that has giant hot air balloons hanging in it, look down and look through the 2 greenhouse roofs, and you can see them from above. And then when you get down there, you'll see those and a row of red. What are they?
Menards turn of the centuries. Unless you're like a showroom snob, like a Casablanca collector that only collects Casablanca, even then with the belt fans. I think if you're a fan collector, there are enough cool fans and cool installs for that alone to be interesting. Most of them are generic 80s builder shit, like Menards sort of thing, SMCs, that sort of thing. But again, there's enough industrials, but there's enough unexpected ones to make it cool overall, plus the belt fans, plus 2 hidden antiques that nobody finds the antiques on their first try. I found them. I found them on my 2nd or 3rd visit as an adult.
I will give a hint for the antiques. When you see the giant hot air balloons hanging up and you're going down the ramp, when you get to the bottom of the ramp, before you go into the restaurant, there's a little old town with shops you can look in. They're somewhere in there, and they're both put together out of bits and parts. So they're both weird.
Fair hint. Okay. There was one other thing I wanted to say about House on the Rock, but I've forgotten it. Either way, Jonas is one of the people that I most wanted to take here. There's a few people that I just have, I've talked to them about it, and I can't wait to take this person. Jonas is one of those people, so I'm very glad that I got to be the person to break his House on the Rock virginity.
Yes.
I hope that when he comes back, I will consistently go with him. I always get a little envious when people go without me. It's kind of like cheating on your spouse.
If I come back here, since I don't drive, I will never, ever, ever go to House on the Rock. Even if I come with other people, Dan must go with.
I appreciate that, but if I'm, out of town for a week or something to that effect, and that's the only week that you can, there's a convention out here that you have to go to. That's the only week you can come.
Yeah. If I have to do that, I will swipe a light bulb. 20 years ago, I would have done that out of habit, just for, hey, I want a light bulb, to collect light bulbs. Now I wouldn't have done it until Dan said, hey, you should. I'm like, yes.
And I'm very morally against stealing, and I would never advocate taking a working light bulb. I think that would be morally wrong.
Same here.
But taking burned out ones that are only to make it into the trash, I think is kind of a cool souvenir that only a lighting collector would care about. So anyhow, I think I have another point to make, but if I think of it, I'll mention it in one of our fan vid testing videos tonight. Excuse me. I'm glad, like I said, every day this week has been really cool. We had 2 thrifting days, both of which were lucrative. We had Showroom Day, which was lucrative. We had House on the Rock Day, which was lucrative in different ways. And it's been a week with really no bad spots yet. Jonas, like most fan collectors, gets on my very last nerve, but I still tolerate him. And he's very, very grateful and honored to be in my magnificent presence.
Yes, I am.
So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for watching.
And I'll just say briefly, Tomorrow and the next day, we're doing the big thing I came for, which is to help Dan move a ton of fans out of a house and move them somewhere else. That is going to be hard work,
He'll earn his
harder
keep.
than I'm used to.
He'll earn his keep.
And I am looking forward to it, and I'm sure I'll love it.
Thanks, guys. See you soon. Thanks for watching.